Hozir bu YouTube'dan ko'rasizlar. Nimaga kerak emaslar? Qo'shilib sarflashni qilib, buni baqa aylantiradi, buni baqa qaraydi. Zoom ko'taradi. Bu YouTube'ga qaraydi. Kısır sizden buradan alışan sevgileri aslında. Telefon size kim? Yoksa gelen şunu da siz yazınız yapıyorsunuz.
Navbatdagi dissertantimiz Ibrohimova Nazima Adhamjon qizi. Dissertatsiya mavzulari maqolalarning modal va topishmoqlarda o'rni va ularni tarjima qilishdagi muammolar. O'zbek va ingliz masalalari asosida. Ilmiy rahbar Mazmuna Otaboyeva, filologiya fanlari bo'yicha falsafa doktori, dotsent. You may begin your presentation, and your time limit is also 15 minutes. And after that, we'll give you some questions. Okay, you may begin.
Thank you. Good morning, respected members of examination committee and distinguished professors and esteemed supervisor. It's a great honor and deep sense that I am standing in front of you to defend and present my dissertation, which is titled The Role of Prose in Sayings and Rituals and Some Challenges of Translating them as an example of Uzbek and English language. My dissertation includes introductions with chapters, conclusion, and list of references. Each chapter has two subdivisions, conclusion and references. Justification and relevance of the topic. Prose and sayings, rituals are tools that can convey not only Uzbek but also English culture, history, tradition in a single sentence. Without them, it's impossible to deliver speech and communication in a beautiful and expressive manner. Proverbs are genre of oral literature. They are created figurative or non-figurative and grammatically and logically. It carry deep meaning and improves the life expressions of of the nation, their attitude towards society, historical and spiritual state, ethical and aesthetic feelings, and positive qualities are embodied. And as the object of the research, Uzbek and English proverbs, sayings, and riddles have been selected, and the subject of the research is the role of sayings and riddles in Uzbek and English proverbs, as well as their functional, thematic, and linguocultural features. The aim of the research is to compare the presence and significance of sayings and riddles without problems in Uzbek and English and to find some solutions to the problem translating them. Just, the objectives of the research are as follows: to analyze the origin and historical background of English and Uzbek proverbs, their influence on culture, and the role of sayings and riddles within them. To review the relationship between sayings and proverbs and riddles, and to analyze the interaction between Uzbek and English proverbs, sayings, and riddles, to identify the challenges involved in translating them and from one language to another. And scientific novelty is the origin and culture impact of these units in both English and Uzbek languages has been identified, and the relationship between sayings, proverbs, and riddles has been sustained, and the mutual influence of Uzbek and English proverbs, sayings, and riddles has been demonstrated, and the challenges in translating them from one language to another have been evidenced. Here you can Here you can see the literature review. I learned the Simpson speaks of the dictionary of proverbs and calls American English proverbs understanding language and culture through common use of sayings. And Maurice's interesting stories to learn proverbs and in Uzbek, Karamat's proverbs and Turamazayev's Uzbek folk proverbs and so on. My dissertation consists of an introduction, 3 chapters, and conclusion and list of references, and 75 pages. And the fourth chapter, the history of the study of proverbs, sayings, and riddles in linguistics in both Uzbek and English oral tradition, one of the examples that embodies the history and value and culture of both nations in their private proverbs. Each of us grew up hearing proverbs and trying to follow them in our daily use. Proverbs have their own place in every nation's life and different according to the people's lifestyle. This history of folk proverbs dates back to many centuries. In the Ukrainian side, inscriptions we find passages of proverbs such as if someone can tell the difference between a sin and a full bull from its gun, another person may not be able to understand them. And if someone is clean but strong, they are considered a mighty hero. If they are sick but weak, they are also considered a hero. And if the content of folk proverbs covers various aspects of oral creativity, and the content of folk proverbs covers various aspects of human life, as events and phenomena in human life are limited, and scope of proverbs meanings which cannot be measured. And proverbs and riddles play an important role in creating the linguistic representation of the world. They summarize the expressions and life realities of the people. Proverbs reflect the authentic and moral and social values of the nation in their meaning. For example, the Uzbek proverb "Mihnaning Kashirohat" reflects the people's belief in hard work and patience. In English, you can say "no pain and no gain." Riddles, on the other hand, serve to develop the worldview and enhance intellectual thinking. The images in riddles are often related to the life of the people and natural phenomena, reflecting the way in which the people perceive reality. And here you can see some examples. Uh, English people say pigeon's milk, and but Uzbek people anqoning urug'i. The English people use pigeon, but Uzbek people use anqon. And every dog is lying at home. Har kim o'z uyida bek. English people choose a dog for this situation, but Uzbek people choose a person who's big. O'z uyini egasi. And English people use all bread is not baked in one oven, but we use vegetable baravar emas. And no collation without saying good chances bo'lmas. And also national identity and culture. English proverbs express the ancient wisdom, traditions, and outlook on life of the people. For example, the proverb "a word in the one hand is worth two in the bush" reflects the English people's pragmatic and cautious value. It shows their cultural approach towards order in society and evaluating opportunities and conserving resources. O'zbek people biz foydalanamiz bu maqolni ifodalashda, ya'ni uzoqdagi quyruqdan qo'lingdagi o'tga yaxshi yoki uzoqdagi qarindoshdan yaqindagi qo'shin yaxshi. And here in the third chapter, I focused I compared the similarities of proverb saying and riddle. Here you can see in Uzbek, ko'pni ko'rgan dono, kamni ko'rgan nodon. Bu maqol matal bo'yicha ko'pni ko'rgan donolik qiladi, kamni ko'rgan shoshilib xato qiladi. Topishmoq ko'rdim ko'rganim emas, bilganim ko'rinmas havo. For example, in inglizchasi keladigan bo'lsa, actions speak louder than words. The proverb and saying talk is cheap, show me the money. And as a result, I am like a speaker, yet strongest man can't hold me for much longer. That's what am I. It's the breath. And also, don't judge a book by its cover. And as a saying, appearances are often deceptive. As a riddle, what has a face and two hands, but no arms or legs? It's a clock. The constant progress in this field can be seen in examples such as establishment of the School for Young Translators by the Department of Literature, Translation and International Relations under the Writers' Union of Uzbekistan in cooperation with the universities in the capital and regions, the publication of young translators for translated work by the Adib Publishing House and the regular release of the both literature journal and many other works. You can see. And the conclusion, this dissertation is dedicated to the topic, the role of proverbs in sayings and riddles and the challenges of translating them, based on Uzbek and English materials, and focuses on studying the theoretical and practical aspects of phenomenological units. During the research, proverbs, sayings, and riddles were examined as products of national and cultural thinking, and their linguistic and intercultural translation differences were analyzed. And the theoretical issues related to the study of proverbs, sayings, and riddles in modern linguistics were considered. The historical development and research methods of proverbs and sayings in linguistics were explored. And in addition, the role of these units in constructing the linguistic worldview was identified. And the challenges in translating Uzbek and English proverbs, sayings, and riddles were examined. The difficulties caused by intercultural differences during the translation process of these units were studied in detail, and based on linguistic models of translating studies, specific methods used in translating phonological units were discussed. In particular, the possibilities of conveying cultural meaning, more conceptual and functional approaches were analyzed. And proverbs serve as a means of expressing the wisdom of the people and create multi-layered imaginary in sayings and riddles. For example, the life chances and advice in proverbs are often expressed in a more metaphorical form in sayings, while riddles offer a playful and intelligent interpretation of life events. In this process, proverbs play a key role in preserving the quality of the people's life and culture.
some only one objectives from your dissertation here, from the annotation of the dissertation, I guess. Maqol, matal va topshiriqlarning bir tildan ikkinchi tilga tarjima qilishdagi muammolarni ko'rsatib berish. So your work or objectives have been dedicated to the translation problems of proverbs in Uzbek and English language. Yes, what have been done to cover these objectives during the research?
I learned the Uzbek and English proverbs, differences and similarities, and for example, I can say as a proverb, so many people spoil the food. In English, we can say like that, but in Uzbek, ko'chman ko'p bo'lsa, qo'y harom bo'ladi. English people use the cooks, but we use ko'chman. And for example, again, no pain, no gain. Mehnasiz mashaqqat yo'q. Esa matal borasida gapirgan no smoke without some fire. Shamol bo'lmasa daraxtning uchi qimirlamaydi. Inglizlar ham anaqa vibe bilan foydalanyapti, o'zbeklar ham shamol so'zidan foydalanyapti.
Okay, thank you. One more question, if it's possible. How did you range the material of the sky in your research? So I guess you couldn't cover all the proverbs in Uzbek or English language. How did you plan?
I use kalimat maqollar.
Qanday?
Kalimat maqollar.
Uh-huh.
And for English, speaks English dictionary. English proverb dictionary.
So as a material of the study, I have taken two books, yes?
Yeah.
Two books. One of
Because
them.
I cannot learn all the proverbs
Yes,
because
sure.
you know proverbs are created by centuries from linguistics, from ancient.
And all the proverbs in these books have been covered in the material of the
No,
study.
all the proverbs. There are so many proverbs.
I mean, from these two books. Ikkala kitobdagi hammasi qamrab olinganmi?
Hammasi qanaqalarni tushuntirib.
Qanday qilib?
O'xshashlari,
Mavzular buni.
mavzu bo'yicha o'xshashlar. Ingliz va o'zbeklardagi o'xshashlarni. Qiyoslar. Farqlar.
Buni nimasi manbasi faqat shu ikkita kitob.
Yo'q. Asosan o'sha
Yaxshi. Bunda sanay olish.
Sanalayotganda nimaga e'tibor berdingiz? Nimaga e'tibor? Qanaqa qilib oldingiz? O'zingizdan o'zingizdan ma'lum qilyapti, to'g'ri o'qiysiz? Nimaga e'tibor berdingiz?
o'sha o'zbeklar o'sha vaziyatda qaysi so'zlarni ifodalayapti, inglizda o'sha vaqt o'sha vaziyatda qaysi so'zlarni ifodalayapti.
O'sha vaziyat deganda nimani qilyapsiz? O'sha vaziyat deganda o'sha vaziyatdagi maqolni olish uchun nimaga endi o'sha vaziyat deb maqolyapsiz? Balki vaziyatni tayinlab olgandirsiz, nimaga asoslanib tayinladingiz? Hamma o'zimizda deb ularda do'qigan nimaga masalan o'sha hamma o'zingizda bek degan maqolni nimaga oldingiz? O'shani topganingizdan inglizchasini oqtarishga tushganmisiz yoki uni inglizchasini topganingizdan o'zbekcha oqtarishga tushganmisiz?
Asosan o'sha
asoslanib
millatni culture, ya'ni madaniyatni ko'rsatib
Çünkü siz manipülasyon funksional semantik punktulardaki
xususiyatlarga qaradim.
deyapsiz.
Semantik jihatdan, ya'ni qaysi bilan so'zni so'zlashni hech bo'lmaydi, semantik jihatdan ma'nosiga qarab boshqa keladi.
Çünkü siz o'ylayapsiz ama funksional semantik va lingva punktulardagi xususiyatlarni tashkil etadi. Siz shu tomonga urg'u berib qaragansizda shuni chiqarib olmoqchisiz.
Okay, question?
Our next presenter, Madaniyeva Mahmeda Muhammadamina. İngiliz ve o'zbek tillarida samaysik qaytalanganlarning qiyosiy taklifi. Ilmiy rahbar Aliboyeva Nilufar. Filologiya fanlari bo'yicha doktor, redaksiya. So, Ekramxon.
Dear our respected professors, esteemed colleagues, and dear our guests, it is a big honor for me to stand before you to present the findings of my master's dissertation titled The Comparative Lingual Cognitive Analysis of Semantic Phraseological Units in English and Uzbek. I would like to say, first of all, that today's world is rapidly evolving. Demanding individuals who are not well versed in their native language, but also capable of understanding the cultural and linguistic features of another language. In this context, phraseology, particularly semantic phraseological units, play an integral role in captivating worldview, history, and mentality of a nation through the language. Uh, the master dissertation consists of 3 chapters and 8 paragraphs. The actuality of this work is characterized by numerous attempts to reinterpret traditional linguistic concepts and phenomena from the perspective of a cognitive approach as proposed by linguists. The cognitive aspect of translating phraseological units has not been sufficiently studied and undoubtedly evokes interest in modern linguistics. Addressing and eliminating this issue, first of all, requires identifying the most effective translation strategy for recurrent types of semantic information inherent in phraseological units based in the source text. The object of the present work is semantic phraseological units in the English and Uzbek language. The subject of the research is the comparative study of semantic phraseological units in these 2 languages, and the aim of the research is to analyze semantic phraseological units in the English and Uzbek language from a comparative perspective and to study their similarities and differences. There are some tasks of the work. The first is to analyze scientific approach to the linguistic essence of semantic phraseological units. The next task is to identify the linguistic features of phraseological units with the components head and tail. The third task is to analyze the structure of semantic phraseological units with the components head and tail. The fourth task is to analyze the semantics of phraseological units, and the last one is to analyze the similarities and differences of phraseological units in these 2 languages. And here are some methods which are used in the research work. They are comprehensive analysis method, which is necessary for identifying the functional semantics of linguistic tools related to the use of semantic phraseological units in the text. The next method is pragmatic analysis, which allows to psycholinguistic analysis of linguistic tools used in the text, providing insight into their meaning from a psychological standpoint. And the next method is conceptual cognitive analysis methods to analyze linguistic tools used in the text that are applied to understand the world and create its distinctive representation. Well, as I mentioned before, the dissertation consists of an introduction, 3 chapters, and 8 paragraphs. Every one of us knows that phraseology is a field of study that studies stable expressions, idioms, proverbs, sayings, set phrases, making the language richer, livelier, and more expressive. The history, culture, traditions, mentality of each nation are reflected in the phraseological wealth of each language. They serve to express complex ideas concisely and often cannot be translated literally. In the first paragraph of the first chapter, titled The Historical Foundations of the Phraseology, it is thoroughly discussed how linguists, through the study of phraseology, gained a deep understanding of semantic structures, cultural features, historical roots, and language changes. This field was significantly developed in the 20th century and was deeply studied by scholars such as Victor Vinogradov, Charles Baldwin, and Kunin. Phraseological units may come from various sources, including the Bible, literary works, folklore, professional jargon, and sacred texts. These are the famous scientists who gained a deep understanding of the phraseological units. We have found many international phraseological units with their equivalent in three languages. The first is Человек предполагает, Бог располагает, which is in Russian. In English, this means man proposes, God disposes. And in Uzbek, we have the equivalent Odam tuzar, Naftor buzar. All of these proverbs have the main translation and definition, which means a person makes plans, but destiny decides. The next is in Russian, лучше поздно, чем никогда. It has the English equivalent, better late than never. In Uzbek, we have the same meaning with another proverb, keçdan kuraket. All of them have the one meaning, better late than not at all. The next is у страха глаза велики. In English, it is the devil is not so black as it is painted. And in Uzbek, we have proverb "Korkmanga kosh korana." All of them have the main definition, which is fear makes things seem worse than they are in real. In English, phraseological units are called idioms, and all of them divided into groups based on various categories, such as human condition, animals, art, religion, and others. Many phraseological units express cross-cultural similarities, and we can see that phraseology is an important tool in language learning because it allows for a natural and colloquial understanding and expression of the language. They are typically fixed, stable structures with a figurative meaning, and it is difficult to communicate effectively without them. The second paragraph of the first chapter is titled Linguistic Features of Phraseological Units provides that phraseology is a branch of linguistics that studies stable expressions, and it encompasses word combinations that reflect the cultural, historical, and social aspects of a language. Phraseological units are categorized based on their various features: non-motivated, partially motivated, and fully motivated expressions. Each of these categories has its own specific meaning and grammatical structure. The second chapter of this scientific work is named Linguocognitive Features of Phraseological Units in Uzbek and English. And its first paragraph is called Classification of Phraseological Units, where this section provides very detailed information about the various classifications of phraseological units. The first is structural and etymological classification, which categorizes these phraseological units according to their internal structure and origin. These classifications provide more information about how these phraseological units are formed and evolved. The next is functional classification, which categorizes phraseological units based on their functions. For example, idioms, proverbs, sayings, set phrases, each of them performing different functions. And the next is semantic aspects, focus on the unique semantic characteristics of the components of phraseological units and how they convey information. The second paragraph of the second chapter, titled Semantic Phraseological Units, discusses how language is a powerful and attractive tool that utilizes the human body, such as head, hand, feet, eye, in order to express figurative meanings. They also bring to life physical and mental representation in language, reflecting our cultural heritage and worldviews. Semantic phraseological units have roots in ancient civilizations and have been passed down through generations, continuing to shape our language today. Concepts and expressions take shape in each culture in its own unique way, and thus they may differ across languages. Here we can see some examples. Head and face components. Keep your head up, which means stay positive. Put a brave face on in order to show a cheerful and confident appearance. The next, off the top of my head, says something without thinking. The next component is hand. Give someone a hand, which means to offer help someone. Get your hands dirty to work actively and participate in some work very actively. The next is food component. Get cold feet, which means to feel nervous. Put your best foot forward, which means to present your best effort and make a good impression. Stand on your own 2 feet, which means to be independent. The next component is hurt. Break someone's hurt to cause someone some sadness. Follow your hurt, which means to make decisions based on your personal emotions. The third paragraph of the second chapter, titled Linguistic Features of Semantic Phraseological Units in English and Urdu, provides a comprehensive explanation of semantic phraseological units and their role and characteristics in different languages. The first semantic phraseological units related to body parts and the movements reflect the expressive aspects of language and culture. These phraseological units add color, imaginary, and figurative depth to the language. And we can see some examples, such as break a leg, to wish good luck, keep an eye on, to watch something very attentively, and cold feet, nervousness or hesitation. Semantic phraseological units in English are characterized by vivid imagery, metaphorical meaning, and transparency, while Uzbek language is also rich in semantic phraseological units, which often reflect their people's customs and traditions. Semantic phraseological units are an essential element in lingual culturology, which studies the relationship between culture and linguistics. In this area, phraseology plays a significant role in reflecting the national cultural uniqueness of a language. National culture, customs, values, and beliefs are transferred into language. Words related to body parts such as head, eyes, hands are frequently used in our everyday life, and these phraseological units are widely used to express a person's state, character, and social behavior. In lingual culturology, non-equivalent linguistic units also retain cultural information. For example, expressions like tukmok, a type of hammer specific only to Uzbek language, are unique to this Uzbek culture and don't have an equivalent in other cultures. The third chapter of the dissertation work is titled Comparative Analysis of Semantic Phraseological Units in English and Uzbek. Begins with the first paragraph, Semantic Phraseological Units in English and Uzbek with the components head and eye, in which several examples are provided. Have an eye for something. This expression means to have a good sense and understanding of something. For example, she has an eye for detail, that's why she's a good editor. Here we can see in English many. U kichik tafsilotlarni yaxshi ko'ra oladi, shuning uchun u juda yaxshi tahrirchi. This phrase reflects a deep understanding or appreciation, often used in contexts like art or editing. The next is keep an eye on. This idiom means to watch or observe something very carefully. Example, can you keep an eye on my bag while I go to the restroom? Meaning sumkamni biroz vaqt kuzatib turishingiz mumkinmi? This is a common phrase used when we request something to someone. The next example is open one's eyes to suddenly realize or understand the truth about something. For example, ko'zimni ochdi, endi hayot qandayligini va haqiqatni tushunaman. In English, they opened my eyes, now I understand the truth about life. This corresponds to the English idiom to open one's eyes, with a similar meaning of realizing or coming to an understanding. The next slide. Cultural and linguistic context. Each language phraseological unit encapsulates the values, worldviews, and social norms of its speakers. For example, the component heard in English we use when we speak about emotions, when we speak about feelings. On the other hand, in Uzbek we use heard component in order to show the cultural and familial aspects. For example, For example, we can see that in Uzbek we have boshiga kelmoq. This phrase generally refers to something that happens unexpectedly or as an idea to someone's mind. Boshni bog'lamoq. This expression refers to someone getting married, linking the head symbolically to a commitment and responsibility. The next slide, please. Here we can see some examples. Boshni bog'lamoq. This expression refers to someone getting married, linking the head symbolically to commitment and responsibility within the context of family or societal norms. In these expressions, the head is used as a symbol of thought, decision-making, and responsibility, and this reflects the emphasis on familial and social values of Uzbek culture. Here we can see English thematic expressions with the heart. In this field, in contrast, English expressions involving the head tend to reflect mental capabilities, cognitive functions, and individual actions. For example, head over heels referring to being completely in love or excited. These expressions illustrate the mental state tied to emotional expressions. Head in the clouds. This describes someone who doesn't pay attention to something, again focusing on mental engagement and thought processes. The head in these English expressions is more associated with intellectual abilities and individual mental states. The next slide, please. The comparison of these two languages underscores the diverse ways in which language can encode knowledge, emotions, and societal norms. This research demonstrates that studying phraseological units in both languages provides a deeper understanding of the interplay between language, thought, and culture, which enriched our understanding of how different societies conceptualize and articulate their both use through language. Studies semantic phraseological units involving the words head and die in English and Uzbek culture reveal the unique linguistic and cultural characteristics of each language, identifying remarkable similarities and differences. In conclusion, I would like to say that studying the linguo-cognitive characteristics of phraseological units in English and Uzbek enriched our understanding of the complex relationship between these two languages, cognition and culture. It illuminates the various ways in which these languages use fixed expressions to convey meaning and provides valuable insights into the cognitive processes underlying language uses. Through ongoing research and analysis, we can enhance our linguistic competence, intercultural understanding, and effective communication in both English and Uzbek language.
Thank you for the presentation. Members, have any question?
Earlier in the novel, in the objectives of the research, have you mentioned the phrases of Washington's campaign so it means the materials of the study have been rendered with these components. Yes?
Yes.
Could you please prove your ideas in the ranging the material of the study with these components? Yes? So what have you taken? Books, dictionaries, what have you got as the material of the study, research?
The main words which I used in my research work was the main literature of Viktor and a number of vocabularies related to these semantic phraseological units. Also, the work of Charles Baldwin were very helpful for me to create my research work.
So, for the analysis, aynan tahlil uchun bosh va ko'z komponenti bilan keladigan frazeologiklar, lingvistik so'zlar, frazeologiklar ana o'shani qanaqa qilib qaysi aynan kitobni oldingmi yoki 200tasini ajratib oldingmi, 1000tasini ajratib oldingmi, nima bo'ladi? Materialni qanday qilib tanlab olding?
Yes, in order to create
Hozir
my
aytilgan ishlar mana nazariy adabiyotlarda ular nazariy adabiyotda hayot tahlil bor. Ko'rinishida hayot tahlilda sizlar o'zlaring tahlil qilish uchun qanday qilasizlar bu odalar?
Firstly, I would like to create something new, and we know that the components, the physiological units of the components hidden are very famous and very they are developed in our society, in our culture. And I wanted only to have some similarities and differences between these two languages, and they are really popular among the nation in our everyday life. And they have a deep meaning with their metaphorical use. That's why I'd like to choose these two components.
Oxirdagi recommendation qismida aytaman agar yaxshi savollar holatimi lekin bundan yaxshiroq qilish mumkinda ba'zi savollar yo'llasak bo'lsa
During your speech, you have mentioned that there was a Urdu for football and depends on the Urdu language. Yeah? But can you give another example from Urdu language, from English language? Which kind of example?
I have found tukmo, yo-yo, such kind of words that don't have their meaning in English language. However, the English words, in order to find out the English words with no equivalent in another language, I couldn't, to be honest, I couldn't find out such kind of things. And I think that in order to find out this is only my opinion, we have to live in that society and to face some such kind of situations where we have to think deeply the equivalent of another language.
Question is in other language. We use often in our language, I believe, in most language, we use often regular units. But in other language, are they used like as often these units or not?
Yes, definitely. All the languages in our world, they have to use the phraseological units because they bring they can create the complex ideas more concisely, and they have to for example color our language to make our language lighter, richer, and more expressive, and in order to avoid some problematic situations, because we have different situations where we cannot for example, to say some phrases or some sentences directly in such ways that we can use the phraseological units in order to create some positive atmosphere in our communication.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your attention.
And our last presenter, Qudratali va Munisafon Abdullayev qizi. So'z semantikasini o'rganishning kognitiv asoslari, yil va o'zbek tillari masalalari asosidir. Endi rahbar Oripova Kamolxon, to'g'ri xabari bo'yicha falsafa doktori. You may begin your speech. Good morning, dear chairperson, esteemed committee members, professors, and guests. It's a great honor to defend my master's thesis in front of you, which is titled Cognitive Foundations of Studying Word Semantics Based on English and Uzbek Language Materials. My master's thesis includes an introduction, 3 chapters which consists of 6 subdivisions and conclusion and the list of the reference. The actuality of my master thesis is the research represents a uh, scientific step in understanding how language reflects our mental and cultural identity and understanding how languages go far beyond their dictionary meanings to express deeply rooted concepts, emotions, and values in our increasingly interconnected world. As the ability to decode the semantic of a word using its cultural and cognitive framework is becoming essential for linguistics educators and translators alike. That is why this work attempts not only a semantic analysis but a cognitive interpretation of word meanings in both English and Uzbek languages. Okay, the aim of my research work is to conduct a cognitive study of words within the text. The object of the research is the linguistic elements that make up the semantic of words in English and Uzbek language. The subject of the research is the cognitive properties of words in the text. The next tasks of the research are to identify cognitive factors influencing the formation and development of word meaning in English and Uzbek, to conduct a cognitive analysis of semantic units in English and Uzbek languages, to reveal the difference between cognitive structures, concepts, and referents in English and Uzbek. The next one is to conduct component analysis and to reveal meanings of words. As a literature review of my thesis is based on the works of internationally acclaimed scholars such as Xorijiy, Mark, Mark Johnson, Ronald Langacker, Charles Gilman, who provided deep insight into metaphor theory, trend semantics, and cognitive grammar. In addition to the research integrates insights from Uzbek scholars such as Rashidov, Ismailov, Jorayev, Rahmonov, Yo'ldoshev, To'chiva has examined cognitive approach to study of Uzbek language. Their works underscore the idea that language is not only a tool for communication but also a powerful medium through which human cognition and cultural identity are expressed and maintained. The first chapter of my work explores the problems of studying cognitive linguistics as a functional semantic system of a language. Uh, in two paragraphs of the first chapter, it explores the comparative cognitive analysis of concepts, the exploration of trend semantics, and study of how referential meaning and emotional connotations differ between cultures. The First of all, we have our own definition for cognitive linguistics. Cognitive linguistics is a modern linguistic science that reveals the content of concepts through paradigmatic imagery in linguistics, and the field of linguistics uh, focuses not only researching the new scientific paradigms, but also on solving interdisciplinary problems related to it. Cognitive linguistics is a branch of linguistics that studies how the human mind perceives the external world through the language and how this perception is reflected on the language in. And the next one. And we have also our own definition for the concept, which is the root of cognitive linguistics. The concept is a set of cultures formed together with the psychological world of human mental activity. Because concepts arise in human consciousness not only on the basis of the lexical meanings of the word, but also form the subjective and cultural historical experience formed over the years in consciousness of an entire nation. The further historical experience goes, the wider content can demonstrate its borders. Next one. In the next, we can see the representation of the concept of tea in Uzbek language as a local cultural unit. The first one is Bachchakda Dasturxonda nom bilan doimiy turadigan ichimlik. The next one is mehmon navozlik ifodasi, ya'ni uyga mehmon kelganda nondan keyin dasturxonga tortiladigan eng asosiy mahsulot. The next one is kellar odobni ifodasi, which means Uzbek madaniyatida joy uzatishining ham o'z odobi bor. Ya'ni O'zbek oilalarida asosan kellarlar o'ng qo'llari ko'rsatilgan holatda joy uzatishadi. The first one is chanqoq bosqich ichimlik. Chanqaganda ichiladigan, hattoki yozning kunida ham ichiladigan ko'k yoki qora choy. The fifth one is bosh og'riqni qoldiruvchi tabiiy malham, which means bosh og'rig'ida ko'pchilik yoshi kattalar choy ichib bosh og'rig'ini haydashadi. Next. Okay, we have also our own definition for frame, gestalt, and script. In cognitive linguistics, knowledge is represented by cognitive structures, which are various structural systems. The first one is frame. Frame is a widely applied lexical concept. This is an understanding of a typical situation. However, the concept is very broad and can even include the language system as a whole. Gestalt is one of the widely recognized models of organization of different human experiences, including thoughts, feelings, actions, and verbal activities. Script is a cognitive scenario, is a typical situation that is consistent with the use of a certain linguistic expression, corresponding to the understanding of a mental schema, knowledge, and components, allowing you to act sufficiently in communication, organize, and predict real or unreal events. This second chapter is titled The Role of Word Semantics in Text Composition. Functional role of words in text is characterized by clarification and more detailed representation of information, revealing emotional and stylistic meanings in the content of the text, providing semantic harmony in the text. We can see the examples of synonyms and antonyms and hyponic, hyperonymic relations in the text. In the next presentation. The first one, synonyms are words that have the same or similar meaning. The main function of the synonym is in the text are to ensure stylistic harmony and prevent repetition. Antonyms are words with opposite meanings in the text. They emphasize opposing concepts, creating emotional expression and contrast. And the next one is the connection between hyponyms and hyperonyms is important for defining generality and specificity in the text. Okay, the application of file theory in the analysis of word semantics. In modern linguistics, semantic file theory is interpreted in combination with semantics. The main objective of semantic file theory is to unite the lexical units associated with meanings of equal value. Such words typically form a common lexical semantic group. For example, plant names from the Ulysses, such words as flower, tree, wild grass are combined into a single general macrophile. Words denoting the flower species, such as words as tulip, rose, water lily, from a common macrophile of flower. Next. Where you can see our analysis in semantic file theory based on meaning of grape intersect in three microfiles, which includes one macrophile. The first microfile is defined as zoomlik semantic kurat. Zoomlik semantic kurat طائف نمرة شرف شغلهم صايمة شلاكة kishimish. Uzunchilik mikromaydoniga ko'ra novda, kurtak, xomtok, barg, uzumzor, ishkom, tokzor, tokqalchi. Daraxt mikromaydoniga ko'ra mevali daraxt, mevasiz daraxt, manzarali daraxt. Yemish mikromaydoniga ko'ra ikkita so'z topdik, mayiz, kavatok hamda shimni so'zlar. The third chapter, functional semantic analysis of words in text structure. This section explores functional semantic analysis of words in English, semantic of linguistics. The meanings of words, their linguistic functions, their contextual role, and their significance in communication. The first analysis of English words from Cosmopolitan in a copy by O. Henry As the word cosmopolite comes from Greek word meaning citizen of the world. The term expresses a person's freedom from national, racial, and cultural limitations. O. Henry uses the word metaphorically to emphasize that character belongs to the whole world. The contextual application of this concept reveals also philosophical theory of cosmopolitanism, which demonstrates the unity of humanity. And cosmopolite refers not only to individual concepts, but also a broader social and cultural theme. Next one is that demi-state toilets was expressed as a dress of ladies in the cafe. The ladies dressed in the demi-state toilet, speaking in an exquisite visible corners of taste, economy, luxury, and art. The term demi-state toilet is used in English to express semi-official clothing, where the appearance of women reflects their social status and personal characteristics. Through the concept of taste, economy, and art, the author emphasizes the importance of appearance in society. This phrase is bounded not only by fashion and aesthetics, but also embodies the cultural and social indicators. Functional semantic analysis of Uzbek words. In this paragraph, 10 concepts are taken from the works of Abdullah Qadri. They sound like. The first one is, love is such a fire which a person can lose both himself and his life. The concept of love in the novel serves as a reflection of most delicate and at the same time the strongest feelings in the inner world of a person. The passage above shows the power of love and influence on human life. The metaphor fire expresses the inner warmth of love, emotional intensity, and the power of passion. The cultural semantic aspect of love is expressed instead as a central motive influencing personal decisions and life paths of characters. This concept increases drama and humanity in the development of the world. Conclusion. This master thesis has a great scientific and practical significance in modern linguistics and serves as an important source of further research. The research results make a scientific contribution to the cognitive, linguocultural, and semantic directions of linguistics. Thank you for your attention. We can look at questions.
If you have questions or
Sorry.
there is one second for presentation. I will give you such task, not that won't be the question. So semantic organization cognitive asoslar individual material asosida bo'lgani uchun I will read you the extract from the work literally. Bu anaqa Rasul Hamzatov bilan Dog'istonning degan asaridan bir parcha o'qib beraman. Qani shuni tahlil qila olasizmi? Balkim tahlil qilarsiz, balkim umumiy bir gap aytasiz. Otamning birinchi bor Moskvaga borgan vaqtida bizga yozgan maktubini esladim. Otam maktubida yozgan gaplarining qaysisi hazil, qaysisi jiddiy ekanligini bilib bo'lmasdi. Lekin uning Moskvadagi har ko'rgan narsasidan hayratga tushgani shundoq sezilib turardi. Ikki nuqta. Endi haq mavzuni ilova qilyapti. Moskvada ovqat tayyorlash uchun uyda o't yoqishmaydi shekilli. Chunki shuncha yurib devorga tappi yoqayotgan birorta ayolni ko'rmadim. Tomlarida Abdutolibning burtiga o'xshaydigan birorta mo'r yo'q. Tunugali tarmoqlarga ham ko'zim tushmadi. Moskvaliklar tomlarida pichan qurishmas ekan. Agar pichan qurishsa mollariga qurishmasa, mollariga nima berishadi? Bog'lam pichan yoki shox-shalloq chog'lab ketayotgan xotinlarni ham ko'rmadim. Hali surmay nolasini ham biror marta eshitganim yo'q. Bu yerdagi yoshlar turmush qurishmaydimi? To'y qilishmaydimi deb o'ylash mumkin. Ko'chalarda qancha kessam ham birorta qo'y ko'rmadim. Unda Moskvaliklar mehmon kelganda nimani so'yishadi? Agar mehmonning oyog'ining tagiga qo'y so'yishmasa, unda aziz mehmonga hurmatni qanday bildirishadi? Yo'q, hech ham ularning hayotiga havas qilib bo'lmaydi. Meni o'zimning Sada qishlog'im ovulimizga ham qo'ymasin. Qaysiki xotinimga sarimsoqni ko'proq qo'shib qovurma tayyorla deyishim mumkin. Ana shu matnni nima qila olasiz?
Bu matndan lingvistik tahlil qilsak bo'ladi. Ya'ni katta, burka, pichan, mo'ri, qo'y so'yish nimani alohida olishimiz mumkin. Ya'ni mehmon kelganda qo'y so'yish. Buni alohida olishimiz mumkin. Tahlil qilsak, o'sha rus madaniyatida bularga mehmon kelganda qo'y so'yilmaydi. Ularda ichkilik qo'yiladi. Keyin
sababi bu tog'dan kelgan inson, Tog'istondan kelgan inson Moskvada yuribdi.
shahar sharoitida
Har bir uy individual o'zini mo'risiga ega bo'lsa, juda qishloqda, kechga o'rnidan individual chiqadigan bo'lsa, bu yerda sentralizonaga markazlashtirilgan tizimlar.
sarimsoq qo'shish ham pasaytiradi. Chunki madaniy jihatdan ijtimoiy xalal bermaslik uchun ular sarimsoq yemasliklari
Bu aks ettiradiki, insonning ongidagi katta usul va uni til usullari qanday ifoda etib berilgan, nima qilyapti. Qozog'istonlik inson uchun hech qanaqasi havas emas Moskvada yashash. Bu uchun tipik hisoblangan, hayotining bo'laklari hisoblangan, uni oddiy hayotida katta rolga ega bo'lgan narsa hech narsani ko'rmayapti.
siz o'z nutqingizda giponim, giperonim deb terminlarni ishlatib o'tdingiz. Mana shu terminlarga alohida izoh berishingizni. Mana giponim nima va giperonim nima va ularni biz qanday holatlarda uchratishimiz mumkin. Misol bersiz undan yaxshi bo'ladi. Ishim davomida o'sha bobimda, ya'ni giponim, giperonimlarni tahlil qilganman. Ya'ni tahlil uchun men Boburnomadan o'sha kichkina qismini aytib berishim bilan Andijon ahli mehnatli, xalqi odobli, yana odobli, mehnatkash, keyin chidamli degan so'zlar qo'llaydi. Ya'ni xalq so'ziga mehnat, chidam so'zlari o'sha xalq so'zini giponim deb oladigan bo'lsak, mehnat nima so'zlar, qolgan so'zlar giperonim bo'lib keladi. Ya'ni so'zda o'sha ekspressivlikni oshirib beradi, nimani kuchaytirib beradida, o'sha so'z mazmun guruhlariga kiradi. O'sha giponim, giponim nima? Giperonim nima? Giponim o'sha asosiy so'z, giperonim o'sha so'zni ochiqlab aniqlab beradigan nima so'zlar. Qaysi biri umumiy, qaysi biri xususiy. Hop. Giponim umumiy, giperonim xususiy. Nima uchun biz ishlatamiz bu terminlarni? O'sha so'zda mazmun guruhlarini aniqlashtirib olish uchun, ya'ni o'sha matndagi mazmun guruhlarini qatorlashtirish uchun alohida qilib ajratib olish. Chunki bizda sinonim qatori bor. Giperonim shunda xususiy bo'ladi. Giponim tezkari. Misol keltiring. Masalan, ishingizda prezentatsiyada aytib o'tdingiz. Mana shu aytib o'tgan misollaringizni ikkitasini, bittasi mana bu giponim bo'ladi, mana bu giperonim bo'ladi deb ko'rsatib bera olasizmi? James Joyce umissiz asaridan keltirgan. She saw the flowers in the garden, roses, tulips, daffodils, standing like little sentinels in the fading light. Flower so'zini giponim deb oladigan bo'lsak, rose, tulip, daffodils giponim yana giperonimlar flower deb oladigan bo'lsak, rose, tulip, daffodils o'sha flowerga giponim sifatida matnda o'sha ekspressiv bo'yoqlarni oshirib
ega.
Mhm.
O'zbek tilida misol uchun, o'zbek tilida o'sha Andijonning mehnatli xalqini ko'rganda dilim ochiladi, chunki ularning tabiatida bag'rikenglik musofa ko'rinadi. Ya'ni xalq so'zi heteronim bo'lsa, mehnatli, bag'rikeng, sof tabiatli so'zlarimiz unga yig'voning sifatida ega.
Okay, Lisa, in your search work, what is the semantic side or semantic aspect of the word? My question is, how many aspects of the word do you know?
There are two aspects of word. Connotative.
Connotative and
Generalization and
denotation and connotation. Okay. What is the difference?
in denotation, the meaning of the word is the root. For example, misol uchun oy so'zini tahlil qilib olayman. Ma'noga oy so'zi o'sha osmondagi yer atrofida aylanadigan sayyora ma'nosida, denotativ ma'noda, lekin ma'lum bir madaniyatlarda, misol uchun Yaponiya madaniyatida go'zallik misoli, ya'ni ayol kishiga oy deb murojaat qilganda uni go'zal ayol sifatida ko'radi. Keyin ilon so'zini olganman, tahlil sifatida, ya'ni ilon so'zi bizni nimamizda sovuq, ya'ni o'sha hayvon ma'nosini bildirsa, ayyorlik misoli ma'nosini kelsa, Xitoy madaniyatida hech qachon qarimaydigan, ya'ni doim yoshligini saqlab qoladigan ayolga nisbatan mana shuni aytiladi. Bu
Connotative
ma'nosi, ya'ni o'sha bu hayvon, ilon hayvon. Connotativni
Connotative kuch ma'nosi. Arablar ayollarni keng mavjuddir. Chunki ularning naqasida tuyani ahamiyati bizda ularni men to'y ko'rmaganman misol.
Bizda keng beradi.
Turklar masalan eshakka o'xshatadi. O'zini chiroyligini biz oqilda qanday chiroyli bo'lsa, eshak kabi o'zini chiroyli deydi. Chunki turklar tog'li joyda ularda eshak ustuna qilmaydi. Ularga o'sha kerak, ularga qo'ldan sirg'oq hisoblanadi. Hammani o'zini Hop, rahmat. Dissertatsiyalarning chiqayotgani bilaman, va ichida narsalar. İçeriler anlamına geldi. İçeriler anlamına ulardan okuyup açık izliyor. Şöyle şu bir şeyleri var nasıl ya? Bunlar hani hastalar içeriler gibi naklı mı? Hatta benim de süreç ki çünkü orada sizde bu sene bir diğer bu içeride var mı? Dissertatsiyalarda. Nasıl da içer bastırması?
Umarım geçsin. Hazırlan kalın.
Hozir mana to'rttasi har baholanganimizni yaqinda bo'ldi. Faqat ikkinchisida hujjat yo'q bilan oldin hujjatlarga berardi-ku. Shartmasini hozir hujjatsiz qabul qilaveramiz. Bo'ldi. Bo'ldi, ha, shu ko'zini o'rnatib olaman, qo'ydiroq qaytadan.
Maskelada, yana keladi.
Ben Alejandro bilan Mohiraga birinchi bilan Mohiraga ish qo'ymoqchiman, ko'rsatib qo'ymoqchiman.
To'g'ri, bizda nimalar shunaqalar aytmoqchiman.
Nozima Rosatlar Association chaqar ekan, esa
hozirgi oldingisida bundan oldin ya'ni
Mohira.
Kecha baribir
musulmonga qaysiga ishlayapti
birinchi
Musliman.
bo'ldi achiyapmiz
aytganman. Mani yonimda o'tirgan. Shu ikkalasini spechi ham yaxshi chiqdi. Tayyorgarlik ko'rganim
yaxshi shu baho qo'yiladimi yo 100 qo'yiladimi
Unda uch mahsul, ikkita yaxshi.
yaxshi bo'lishi uchun atrofidagilar yordam beradi.
Zilola kishini o'zi yozib berdi. Agar yozib bermaganda o'zida isham yo'q o'zi. Ishlari yo'q edi. Hammasi ishlamaydi. Bitirib olmaganmi? Sizni bitirsangiz bitta keyin qo'yadi. Bizni ishlayman degan da'voga qolarsiz desam, mana oliy ishlash niyatim bor. Javonim chiqib zilolarga yiqib qo'yadi. Bu zilolar